and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. She's all awkward in her seat. She's not awkward, she's excited to be back. I've just had the month of February off from making videos, which has been lovely. Not only to sort of just have a bit of a rest, and also I had COVID, so I wouldn't have been able to bloody do much anyway. But the creative juices have absolutely flowed that month I took off. I've got pages and pages of video ideas. I'm so excited for March. I'm so excited for the whole year. But my plan is for the first of each month to release my TBR of what I'm going to be reading for that month. And March, you may well remember if you've been here a while, is one of my bestest reading months. There's somebody outside doing some sort of work. I don't know what it is. They've got some sort of like saw, I remember that saw very well from like my dad making stuff, fences and things when I was younger. It's that type of saw. I don't know what they're doing, but they're out there doing that. So if you can hear that, soz. As I said, March is my favourite reading month of the year probably. Have an absolutely wonderful time. For the past few years, I've taken part in the only readathon I take part in all year, the Irish Readathon, which this year is hosted by Aoife and Leanne. I will link both of their channels down below because they are both fantastic booktubers. And it's a readathon whereby you celebrate Irish authors and books set in Ireland. And yeah, I've taken part in it for the past few years and I always enjoy doing that. And I've got a whole host, and they set prompts for it, which is very exciting as well, because as I say, I don't really take part in any readathons apart from this one, so it's nice to fit books to prompts. So I've got a whole host of books that fit the prompts, and then I've got a whole host of other Irish books, which I'm going to be hoping to read this month as well. So yeah, if you're planning on taking part and you need some ideas, hopefully I've got some more ideas here. But also, not only is it the Irish Readathon, which I love, it's the Women's Prize long list announcement. By the way, I really feel like I've got this green dress on because it's Irish Readathon, obviously. But like, this is, it's very square necked and not normally like, that's not normally an angle you'd see from me, a bit of cleavage. So I feel like a bit of a medieval wench in it, but hey, we're all enjoying it. So yeah, the Women's Prize for Fiction long list is announced on, I think it's the 8th of March, whereby they will announce 16 books which are on the long list for the Women's Prize for this year. It's my favourite literary prize ever. I absolutely love following it. Every year I try and read the long list or the short list, or just try and read as many of them as possible. And the last few years, I'm going to be doing a predictions video where I talk about what books I think are going to be on the long list. But I'm also going to be doing a live reaction video. So previously they've always done it at midnight, and I have been known to stay up till midnight to do the live reaction video. Last year they did it at 6:30 in the evening. Whatever time it will be, I'll be doing a live action like I'm a Disney film. I'll be doing a live reaction video, but yeah, there'll be a predictions video coming up soon, maybe even next, who knows. But let's get on with the books that I plan to read for the Irish Readathon. So as I said, I'll link Aoife and Leanne's channels down below. They've got much more information and more recommendations and stuff there, but there is a whole host of prompts for the Irish Readathon, and I will show you the books that I plan to read that fit those prompts, and then other books which I've got out from the library or have been waiting for this month to read. So the first prompt is read an Irish non-fiction book. Now I got this for my birthday off of my friends Alex and Kate, and this is The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting, The Tragedy and the Glory of Growing Up, a memoir by Ivana Lynch. It's a signed edition, guys. You may well know Ivana Lynch. She's Luna Lovegood from the Harry Potter films. And I follow her on Instagram and have been very sort of aware of her and her acting, and watched her do a bit of dancing on Dancing with the Stars, which is the American version of Strictly Come Dancing. But she's also a role model in terms of people recovering from eating disorders. She's an activist. She's very cruelty-free makeup and beauty, vegetarian. I'm not sure if she's a vegetarian, but yeah. So this is going to be all about her, I assume, her life sort of getting into the acting and her sort of creative, her creativeness coming to the fore, but also bits about other bits and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I think there's going to be some sort of trigger warnings for eating disorders in here. But yeah, I got this for my birthday and I thought that would be perfect to read for the Irish Readathon. And then there was a non-fiction prompt, so very excited about that. Then the next one is read an Irish children's book. So I'm going to be reading a YA book. I'm actually going to be listening to the audio book of it. And that's going to be Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating, and I've actually forgotten the name of the person who this is by. So this author, let me tell you the author before we go any further. Adiba Jagurda, her book, The Henna Wars, I think was their group book last year. So this is a YA book about Hani and Ishu who pretend to be dating in order to sort of maybe relax some pressure off of them for other things, and then eventually fall in love. So I've got the audiobook of that and I'll be looking forward to reading that, and that is a YA book, so children's book, it counts. Then this one, now I struggled to find a book for this, but I got this from Aoife's TBR, and the fact that she mentioned that she'd read it last year, and this is an Irish book set or written in the 1920s, and I've got a reservation on, it hasn't come in yet, of the Glorious Guinness Girls. I don't even know who that's by. God, that's bloody useful. I'll insert a picture of it here, obviously. And yeah, I don't know what it's about. I just know that it's set in the 1920s. I think it's set in there rather than written in there, but there's a sequel out this year, and I think that's also on Aoife's TBR. Then read an Irish book a host has already read, and Aoife has absolutely loved this. Snowflake by Louise Nealon. This is out from the library. It's like a coming-of-age story set on an Irish farm. A girl who is moving to Dublin. 18-year-old Debbie White lives on a dairy farm with her mother Maeve and her uncle Billy. Billy sleeps out in a caravan in the garden with a bottle of whiskey and the stars overhead for company. Maeve spends her days recording her dreams, which she believes to be prophecies. This world is Debbie's normal, but she is about to step into life as a student at Trinity College, Dublin. As she navigates between sophisticated new friends and the family bubble, things begin to unravel. Maeve's eccentricity tilts into something darker while Billy's drinking gets worse. Debbie struggles to cope with the weirdest, most difficult parts of herself, her family and her small life. But the fierce love of the White family is never in doubt, and Debbie discovers that even the oddest of families are places of safety. Doesn't that just sound lovely? I love a coming of age as well, so that's very exciting. Then the next prompt is read a book set in Northern Ireland, and I've got two options for this, and I don't know which one I'm going to go for. Both are by the same author, both are by Sue Diven. I've got Guard Your Heart, which came out last year, and this says that it is set in contemporary Derry. Boy meets girl on the Northern Irish border, but what if peace is harder than war? And then I've got Truth Be Told by Sue Diven, and this is also set partly in Derry. Tara is from Derry City, Faith is from rural Armagh. Their lives couldn't be more different, but after a chance meeting, they're shocked to discover they look exactly the same. They just don't know why yet. In searching for the truth about their own identities, the teenagers uncover more than they've bargained for, and that's out April this year. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely be reading one of these, maybe even get to both of them, who knows, but looking forward to those very much. And then the last prompt before I get onto the group book is read a green book, or a book with green on it. Now, would you believe it? Look at how many books I've got here. Not one of them has got green on the cover, and them being books that don't have green on the cover anyway is unbelievable, but them being books set or about or from Irish authors that don't have green on the cover. And the book I've actually picked, I'm not even convinced this is green, but this is the sky. I know the sky is traditionally blue, but that to me is a greeny blue. So this is Claire Keegan, Small Things Like These, and this is a short novella. I actually really wish that I'd known about this on the run up to Christmas last year, because I definitely would have read that on the run up to Christmas. This is set in 1985 in an Irish town, and in the weeks on the run up to Christmas, Bill Furlong, a coal and timber merchant, faces his busiest season. As he does the round, he feels the past rising up to meet him and encounters the complicit silences of a people controlled by the church. So yeah, and I'm also hoping to get Foster by Claire Keegan out from the library as well. Yeah, that hasn't arrived yet. So yeah, that's the book. And then, as I said, the group book, which is ready and waiting for me to pick up from the library, is Boys Don't Cry. So I'm looking forward to reading that as well. But then let's move on to this big massive pile of books by Irish authors that is also going to be hopefully read in the month. Oh, first of all, let me mention, so for my Patreon book club, we are going to be reading My Name is Leon by Kit DeWall, who is an Irish author. I've read My Name is Leon a few times before, and it's amazing and one of my favourite books, and I'm going to be listening to the audiobook of it. For Patreon, I did a sort of Irish spotlight, and we got to pick out of two books by Kit DeWall, what you might want to pick and what you might want to read, and My Name is Leon won. But don't think that I'm over talking about Kit DeWall, because I've got loads more to talk about her. So first of all, this is, so although this isn't strictly by Irish authors, this is curated, this is edited by Kit DeWall, and it's a collection of essays about being working class. It's called Common People. It's got all sorts of authors in here. Let me have a look. Anita Setti, Damien Barr, Mallory Blackman. Very excited about these. So yeah, I'm Lisa Mcinerney, who is an Irish author. Yeah, so that'll be great, and I'm looking for. I've been meaning to read this for some time, so I'm excited about that. And then also, I only got sent the proof for this week, which I am so pumped for. This is Kit DeWall's memoir, Without Warning and Only Sometimes, Seen from an Unpredictable Childhood. This isn't out until August this year, published by Tinder Press, and yeah, This is about her growing up and her life, and I am so excited to read that because I just love her writing so much. So yeah, 2 more books by Kit DeWall. Then I've got, I can't believe I haven't read this yet, Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. Oh, there goes the little card that goes with it. Now, David and I have been reading a book aloud to each other every month, and it's my turn to pick in March. Obviously, I'll be picking an Irish book, and I was thinking about maybe picking this. I really enjoyed Normal People, but didn't love Conversations with Friends as much, and I've heard that this is much more for people who loved Conversations with Friends. But yeah, I need to read it. My friend Emma read it, and she said she really liked it. She said there was loads of shagging in it. So yeah, so maybe this will be the one we read aloud to each other, maybe. But yeah, I can't believe I haven't got around to reading that yet. Then I've got a book that I bought last year to read for the Irish Readathon and didn't get around to it. That's Promising Young Women, not Promising Young Woman, by Caroline O'Donoghue. This says Jane is an adrift 20-something by day and a world-weary agony aunt by night. Then at an office party she takes on another role, the other woman. As Jane's affair with her married and much older boss takes off, she discovers that sex and power go hand in hand and that it's hard to keep your head when you're someone else's dirty little secret. And soon her friendships, her sanity and her life are put into jeopardy. Speaking of Caroline O'Donoghue, I've got this book out from the library as well, All Our Hidden Gifts. I don't know if this is, oh yeah, it's a YA book. Maeve Chambers doesn't have any special gifts, that is until she finds a dusty old pack of tarot cards. Oh yeah, I like that, that's front covers make sense now, doesn't it? And starts giving uncannily accurate readings to everyone around her. But when she reads for her ex-best friend Lily, a strange card appears in the deck and everything goes wrong. Lily doesn't come to school the next day or the next, and Maeve knows she's been taken somewhere the police will never find her. Only the cards and something older, something even more powerful can bring her back. That sounds very exciting. So yeah, there's that. Then I've got 2 books by Lucy Caldwell. One of these, so this is a Multitudes, which is a collection of vivid and touching stories of childhood and adolescence through to early motherhood. Lives are caught in transition between the in crowd and the out, between love and loneliness, between the city and the country, between home and escape. And then I've also got All the Beggars Riding by Lucy Caldwell, and this is a novel. Growing up in the 1970s and 80s in London, Lara and her younger brother were accustomed to their father's absence. A plastic surgeon, imagine this, he spent long spells in Belfast operating on the bomb victims of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. But when he died in a terrible accident, the truth of their father's other life was revealed. He had a wife and children in Belfast, and Lara's mother was in fact his mistress. Now nearing 40, Lara attempts to confront her past, visiting troubling memories of her childhood to piece together the story of her parents' hidden relationship. Actually, I don't know, maybe me and David will read that. I don't know. The books that we have to read to each other, there has to be sort of like set rules in that they have to be chapters where you can sort of read 2 chapters a day and then stop and then continue. I need to have a look at the chapter side of that, but maybe that. And then I've got The Fire Starters by Jan Carson. Love this front cover, by the way. And this says, Dr. Jonathan Murray suspects his newborn daughter is not as harmless as she seems. Sammy Agnew is wrestling with his dark past and fears that the violence in his blood lurks in his son too. The city is in flames and the authorities are losing control. As matters fall into frenzy and as the lines between fantasy and truth, right and wrong begin to blur, who will these 2 fathers choose to protect? So that sounds exciting. And then the last one I've got is an author that I mentioned earlier, Lisa Mcinerney. She actually won the Women's Prize a couple of years ago. This is her new book, The Rules of Revelation. Got a quote from Sally Rooney on the front there, glorious, bold and funny. Ireland, great nationalists, bad mothers and a whole lot of secrets. Ryan Cusack is ready to deliver its soundtrack. Former sex worker Georgie wants the truth about Ryan's past out there, but the journalist has her own agenda. Mel returns from Brexit Britain, ill-equipped to deal with the resurgence of a family scandal. Corinne has always been sure of herself till a terrible secret tugs the rug from under her. Maureen has got wind that things are changing, and if anyone's telling the story, she wants to make sure it's her. A riotous blast of sex, scandal, obsession, love, feminism, gender, music, class and transgression from an author with a tremendous singular talent. So yeah, this looks, yeah, that looks fun. That could also maybe be on the Women's Prize long list. Who knows? And then the last book I just want to mention that I'll be listening to the audiobook of. I've been so excited about this, and it came out in February and I held off because I wanted to read it this month, and that's the new Marian Keyes book. Marian Keyes is an author who writes women's contemporary fiction, which you will know is not one of my favourite genres, but I really love Marian Keyes' writing. I read the Grown Ups by her for the Irish Readathon when the first ever lockdown 1.0 kicked off. That was such a lovely companion. She writes really big sort of immersive chunky family sagas you can get really involved in, and that book takes me right back to like being here and not being able to leave the house and just reading that and having a lovely time. And this is again Rachel, which is a sequel to the book that she wrote 25 years ago, Rachel's Holiday, which I read last year and really enjoyed. It's about addiction, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back in with Rachel and seeing how things go. I'm going to listen to the audiobook of it. It's narrated by Marion, whose voice I love, and I thought it was narrated by Marion and Graham Norton, but Graham Norton actually does an interview with Marion at the end of the audiobook, so I'm looking forward to getting to that as well. So yeah, I will be listening to that throughout the month of March alongside My Name is Leon. But yeah, those are some of the books that I plan to read in March. Now, as I said, there's more TBRs coming because the Women's Prize is going to be, long list is going to be out on the 8th, and I'll definitely be picking and starting to read books from there as well. Such a good month for reading, guys, such a good month. But would love to hear if you're planning on following the Women's Prize this year, if you're planning on joining in with the Irish Readathon, if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned here today, what you're reading for the prompts if you're joining in, and I will see you all again soon for another booktube video. Goodbye!